Volkspielen!
Ahoy there, Volkspielen here, and welcome back to another episode of Volkspielen. So, I'm going to be doing something different than I normally do for these episodes. I usually would be recording the gameplay along with my commentary, but I always noticed that I would be getting involved in the gameplay and forgetting my commentaries and just repeating myself, and I really didn't like that. So, what I'm doing for this episode is I'm actually recording it before I do the gameplay. So if something happens on the screen and it's like, ooh, why isn't he not mentioning that? That's why. I'll try to mention it like maybe in like post, have like a little edit, be like, hey, look, I caught a big fish or something. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm playing Stardew Valley. I should be. If I'm not, I don't know why. I'll make a comment about it for like right here, and then we will go on from there. And also, sorry if I sound stuffy. I have a head cold. I'm getting over it. It's not COVID, thankfully. But I still sound a little stuffy and have to be a mouth breather. So we finally made it to 2021, and I was originally planning to do a way bigger episode today, where I was going to go over like my top 10 games that I was interested in, games that were disappointed, and I was going to have this huge episode, and I was going to kind of do something like that every other week. But I kind of wanted to gauge how you guys felt about it, so what I did is I took that big episode, and I'm going to split it up and do the segments like all through January and see how you guys kind of like these commentaries. So for this episode, as you could tell, it's going to be the 5 games that I was disappointed, that were disappointing to me at least, for 2020. Now, these games were, I will say, I did not play all of them, so they could be something with like the reviews or something came out. But I will try to be fair on those games, and then the games that I did play, those would kind of be higher up, and I'll mention if I did or did not play and what's the reason why they were disappointing for me. And so before I start this, please let me know if you like these kind of videos with like liking or commenting down below. That's like the best way for me to know if you like these style of videos. And then with that out of the way, we're going to begin. So these are the top 5 video games that I was disappointed about in 2020. I'll have them listed on the screen along with some other editorial stuff because I'm going to be trying to do more of this stuff. So number 5 is going to be Maneater, and honestly, this is the game that out of these 5, I will probably play the most. Because I heard mixed reviews and I saw gameplay where it was just kind of like, it was one of those games where it's like it should be kind of running better from the way it looks, but it wasn't. It's kind of janky, and the writing was kind of subpar. So, but it is a game I am interested in. The gameplay does look fun, or at least the theme of it is. And I really do want to try it sometime, but I'm not going to pay full price for it. Like, maybe find a discount, or if it comes out on like the Game Pass, I'll definitely try it on there. So, number 4 is going to be the Spongebob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Now, this is the one where I saw way more gameplay. I actually watched people streaming it, and it looked rough. It looked rough even for a remake because it just, like, part of the games that was originally fun, because I actually played the original Battle for Bikini Bottoms for the GameCube when I was younger. And I mean, granted, I wasn't like a savant, like, oh, this is the best game ever. Like, you can get hints of RPGs and Metrovanias in here. But it was just, I was a stupid, 13-year-old that was like, haha, SpongeBob, I love SpongeBob. But it was like, I think for a good remake or remaster, or whatever you want to call it, it has to be enticing to both the new members, so that way, like the newer audience, the ones who have never played it before, but also be good for the old ones, the ones who played the original. Maybe have something new or expand on stuff. That's what makes a really good remake, remaster, port, whatever you want. And it looked like SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom really kind of flopped on that. Yes, that was a fish pun. So for number 3 is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and this is kind of the exact same thing with SpongeBob. I love this game, and from my childhood, this was one of the GameCube games that I played a lot of. Yes, I was a Nintendo boy when I was a child, and I loved the GameCube. That's probably one of my favorite systems of all time was the GameCube. And I never beat the original one. I got up to like where I had to go to the final boss, but I don't know why I never beat it. I don't know if I like lost the game or I just lost interest or something like that. But I had like a really high level character and I just never did. And then when I saw this game and it was like, oh, these multiplayers and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a cool game. And then they were coming out. I think the first warning sign for me is when the game was coming out and they're like, oh, you people can play on their phones and don't even have to have the game. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then it just kind of like looked more like a phone game-ish sort of deal, and it just really didn't refine it. So I guess that was my biggest issues with Final Fantasy III Crystal Chronicles. Alright, number 2 is kind of a controversial one because number 2 and number 1 I have both played. And number 2 is going to be Fall Guys. And this isn't because the game is broken or buggy or has hackers, because I played on PlayStation, because hackers never go on PlayStation. But the reason why it's on this list is because it had such great potential. It was honestly a new version of the Battle Royale mode, and everyone loved it. It's like, oh, it's like Wipeout or the Castle game. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm bad with names. And it was fun, and I remember the grind of me trying to, get that crown, and I even streamed it a bunch over on Twitch about, it's like, oh, I want to get this before, quicker than Tim the Tatman did, because if you remember, he just absolutely did not get it. And then it just kind of stagnated, where it was like, because the average of people probably fall off, like within the first 3 matches, and there's only like 10 maps, if that you would play, and it kind of got boring, especially with like the terrible tail ones. And I know they had like seasons come out, and I tried it, but it wasn't fun. I mean, I had fun when my friends played it with me, but it just really didn't. It wasn't able to hold on. It wasn't able to retain the players, because that's one of the harder things, because it was a free to play game. Yeah, you could buy cosmetics, but at the bottom line, the players are free. It's free, and the only reason you'd buy cosmetics is if you were able to hold on to them and be like, oh, I want to have a ducky skin or a pirate skin or yada yada, whatever. And I feel like that was the Fall Guys' biggest issue, is that they weren't able to retain it, and it became kind of a shadow of itself. I'm not saying that the game is bad. I just feel like they had a golden egg and they just kind of messed up. And the number 1 biggest disappointment for disappointing game for me of 2020 was Warcraft 3. Yeah, that came out all the way back in January, if you can actually believe it. That's how long 2020 felt. But this game was kind of a big game. Now, I will say this. I love Warcraft. I love the history. I love the lore. The MMORPG. Actually, that's my character logo is from. It's my main character. And you will be hearing about Shadowlands in a different list. Not today, though. But I never played the RTS games. And I always wanted to. But you just could never. I couldn't find them anywhere. Honestly, I never looked for them. But I was really excited to try out the Warcraft 3 game. And, I pre-ordered it. I got the bonus. And I was waiting. And I got it. Downloaded it. And then when I went to go try it, I don't know. It just didn't click. It's not like I don't like RTS games. I love strategy games. They're one of my favorite games. But this game I was trying to play with like my friends. I kept having bugs. There was issues. And I wasn't the only one. And this was one of the rare times where Blizzard actually offered like a full, had a button implemented for refunding the game. That's how much of an issue the, Warcraft 3 was. Now, I never went back to it. I haven't even checked up to see how it was, because it really left a sour taste in my mouth, and I feel, bad about that. But again, it was just this game where I don't want to say I overhyped it, because I never played Warcraft 3, and I know there were some people, like my friend, he was, he loved Warcraft 3, and it just wasn't the same for him either, so that's why it's up here at number 1. Now, I don't know if anything has changed on it, so if it does, let me know in the comments, but yeah, that's the 5 games I have. Sorry, I'm just coughing a lot. I'm trying not to cough on mic. But, yeah, what were your guys' kind of big disappointment in gaming last year? What games did you feel like didn't live up to the hype, or just were issues, or just absolutely, I wouldn't want to say terrible, because there are games that, they're like, people are like, oh, I don't like this, but they're fun. Again, just what kind of games would you say were, disappointing to you in the comments? And let me know if you like this style of videos. I'm going to be doing, like I said, they're going to be coming out every Saturday for at least January, and then I'll go on from there. And then next week, I'm actually going to be going over, I don't want to say how many, but I'm going to be going over the games that I wish I played, or I want to play, and try them out. Because there are a bunch of games that I wanted to play, but due to finances or time, I just never really got able to play them. So, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications, and then until next time, peace!